Hello, my desktop publishing students. This is a review question for your if statements. And what I've done is I've opened up XX Kitchen King and saved it with your name, but I saved it with my name and the date. So I want you to do the same thing. So the first piece says, use Vlookup to insert the customer's last names. The customer information is available on sheet 2. You must find an exact value. All right, so go to directory here, and first of all, select from cell A1 down to D22. That's our table. Now, take a look. This is the first column is the lookup value, 2010-45 to 2010-66. What do we have in column 2? We have the first name. What do we have in column 3? The last name. What do we have in column 4? The address. All right, now I have already defined this, but I want you to define it. So call it T customers, unless you have a better name, okay, and press enter. Now, your definition, I always ask you to check it. Click in a blank cell, click on your drop down arrow and choose T customers. And did it highlight properly? If it did, then you know you're okay. All right, so now go to Vlookup, the sheet called Vlookup, and we're going to put in equals Vlookup. Open your parentheses, and it says, what is the lookup value? Well, we already discussed it, that the lookup value is the invoice number, the first column in your table. Comma, what's the table called? You press F3 and choose T customers. Comma, now where is the answer? And we're looking for the last name. And remember, the last name was in the third column. Comma. And we want to find an exact match because there's only one name for each invoice. So we want to use the word false. All right. Press enter. Okay. Grab your fill handle and drag down. Now, note 79 and 87 were not in the table. It only went to 66. So that's why the computer put in not available. All right. Now, for customer address, the instructions say, use an if statement as well as a Vlookup statement to insert the customer address as long as the customer address is not blank. If the customer address is blank, then leave it blank. All right, so now put in equals if. Open your if statement, and we want to say if the customer name equals blank, that means quote, quote, comma, then leave it blank, quote, quote. Otherwise, Vlookup. And open your parentheses. All right, so we want to look up, then we want to look up the invoice number, comma, and the table is called, press F3, T customers, and comma, and the column index number that we're looking up is the address, so that's column 4, comma, and we want an exact value. And now we need to close our parentheses twice, remember? The red ones for the Vlookup and the black ones for the if statements. Okay, and you got 77 Dean Road. All right, grab your fill handle and drag down. Now, note nothing was blank over here, so you didn't see the effect. But let's say if I clicked here on bounds and I pressed delete. Do you see how the computer left it blank? They said if it's blank, leave it blank. And that's what it did, but it didn't have any samples to show you. So that's why I did what I did to show you. All right. Now it asks us to calculate the days unpaid. All right. And it says use cell C4 as the current date. So we want to take equals and we want to take C4, but everything's got to be compared to this date. So it's got to be absolute minus the invoice date to give us the number of days. All right, so we grab our fill handle and we drag down. Okay, so now this time we have the unpaid days, and it says to you, it says use a VLOOKUP to insert the interest rate. Use the late fee table. All right, so we have to define this table. So select our data, click in your name box, and you're going to type T for table, and let's call it late fee. All right, and press enter. Okay, check it, click in a blank cell, click on your drop down, and choose table late fee. Okay, so now go back, and it says use the late fee table to look up the interest rate. All right, so we want to say equals, and it's anything, want to use VLOOKUP. Okay, and this time we have a range. Can you see 1 to 30 to 60 to 90 to 120? So we have a range. So we want to say the lookup value is the days unpaid, comma, F3, what's my table called? T late fee, comma, and where's my answer? My answer is in column 2, because remember column 1 is the lookup value. So column 2, and the range this time is true, approximate value, and close my parentheses, and there's my first interest rate, and I drag down for all the others. Okay, so now that you have the interest rate listed, then you have to calculate the late fee. All right, and the late fee would be equal to your invoice amount times the rate. Okay, and grab your fill handle and drag down. We'll do the formatting after. All right, so we've calculated the late fee, and now it said calculate the amount due. So that would be equals the sum of the amount due, comma, and the late fee. All right, grab your fill handle and drag down. Okay, so now I'm going to select this one, my amount, and late fee and due. Right click, format cells, and I want accounting, and I'm just going to leave the $sign on all of them, and then I'll pick this up here and use my control key and right click and go to format cells, and I want accounting but with no $sign. Okay, the interest rate, I could put a percent on this if I wanted to. So if you want to put on percent and use 2 decimal places so that you can see all your percents, okay? All right, so that pretty well. Now your totals, I see totals here. I don't see an instruction for totals, but if we want to total the amount due, we would go Alt equals, press enter, widen your column, and then I would copy it, go Control C, and I would paste it here, Control V. So we've got the total amount due, we've got the total late fees, and we have the total amount here on the amount due. All right, so save your work, and I think that completes everything that you were supposed to complete on that question. We'll stop there.